Hey everyone, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got the brand new 2020 Genesis G90 Ultimate. This is the 5-liter V8 top-tier model of Genesis's top-tier sedan. So we're dealing with the best of the best, creme de la creme of what this Korean luxury automaker has to offer. And for those of you who don't know, Genesis is Hyundai's luxury brand. Came on the scene a few years ago as an independent brand. They've been making great vehicles ever since. This is going to be a sound system demo. If you want to see a full review of the car, keep an eye on our channel for that. I'll put the link down in the description of this video once it posts. So this car has the 17-speaker Lexicon 900-watt audio system. And what was cool for me demoing this system is I've never demoed a system from Lexicon. Now it is a Harman brand, so they're cousins with Harman Kardon, Bowers & Wilkins, Burmeister, JBL. Pretty much every sound system brand these days comes from Harman. Harman's bought up a lot of the systems over the last few years. What was cool for me is if I get in a new Volvo, for example, or a new BMW with the Bowers & Wilkins or the Harman Kardon, or same with the Mercedes we just had, for example, or even the Mark Levinson in the Lexus, I've heard those systems before and I kind of know what I'm expecting. Even with Bose, the one system that's still kind of out on its own, I kind of know what to expect when I'm getting into a Bose system car. But I haven't heard anything from Lexicon before, so it was cool for me to be able to get into this vehicle and really give it a thorough and robust test to see where it ranks. And for those of you who are new to the channel, we always do these sound system tests with a USB stick with uncompressed WAV audio files plugged directly into the system and high quality binaural audio microphones in my ears, so you guys can get the most accurate and realistic experience watching this video as you can. We also always start with all the sound settings set to 0. And what that's going to mean in this car is turning off any post-processing. We've got treble, mid-range, and bass set to 0. And then down here we've got this Quantum Logic surround. I'm going to turn that off. And I'm also going to leave this Clarify music restoration technology off. This is their algorithm for dealing with compressed audio like Sirius XM radio, most Bluetooth, things like that. Those sound files are compressed, and Lexicon has technology to try to make them sound a little more accurate. But since we're dealing with uncompressed audio files, I'm going to keep that off for this test. I'll demo it later on just so you guys can get an idea of what it does for the sound system. So before we get started, let's go out and take a quick look at this vehicle. Now I know looks are subjective, but I am really feeling the design of this new Genesis and everything with Genesis's new design language. They've got the new GV90, the GV80 or GV90 SUV coming out here soon. It looks similar to this, absolutely gorgeous. And they just recently announced the new G80 that I think looks even better than this as well. But I love these wheels. I really love these swooping taillights that go all the way across, nice chrome accents, new font for the Genesis logo. Take a look in back here. Since this is a large sedan, it's pretty comfortable in the back as well. People getting chauffeured. These seats recline. And if you want to see more of that, definitely take a look at our full review. And this looks like a speaker grill right here. It's kind of strange. I guess it's just part of the design. And we're going to go through here and count all the speaker grills. However, before I do, I have to say that I can't find the 17th speaker. I've looked on Lexicon's website for the G90, and it lists 5 tweeters, but I can't for the life of me find it. So I'll go through and show you what I mean. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the subwoofer right here. 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 right there, center speaker. Somewhere else, there's a tweeter, and I have no idea where it is, but I trust Genesis and Lexicon that it's there. I just don't know why they would have 5 tweeters rather than just 4. So if anyone in the comments happens to know, let me know, but I'll reach out to Genesis and see if I can get an answer on that one. Anyway, in terms of audio inputs, you've got USB up here, USB in the back, Bluetooth, Sirius XM, FM, AM, and that is about it. So what are you missing? You're missing a 3.5 millimeter auxiliary input jack, as well as a CD or DVD player. Not a huge deal for most people these days. Phones aren't even coming with headphone jacks, but still something to know. All right, let's listen to a few sample tracks here, and then we'll get on the road, listen to those tracks while we're moving. I'll give you my thoughts at the end. Oh, one more thing, I almost forgot. Audio adjustments. You've got a nice volume roller knob here, which I appreciate because you can quickly get volume up or down, and it's got a lot of nice detents as well. Then you've got a good volume knob here with good detents. It's a little small, but it's still easy enough to grip. Then you can also change tracks from the steering wheel right here, or from right here, or using the touchscreen. And I'd be remiss to omit rear audio controls as well. So pop back here, pull this down, and look at that. You've got full control of the audio system here. So you've got volume, as well as a mute. And if you turn these screens on, you can control the audio system from back here. Where are we at here? There's radio, media. You can go through and change the song tracks, etc. All right. Oh, better turn that screen off. Anyway. In terms of audio adjustments, like I was showing earlier, there are a good amount. You don't have a full-fledged equalizer, but you do have your standard treble mid-range bass. On top of that, you have what they call quantum logic surround. So a lot of systems these days, they have some sort of a surround sound setting. Some people don't care for them. They add a little bit of post-processing to the music. I actually like them to an extent. Some cars, it's just gimmicky and just sounds silly. Other cars, it can really add kind of a holistic 3D immersive experience that I appreciate. And the Genesis does a pretty good job at that. So you've got audience, which is almost kind of like saying medium. Still keeps the sound a little bit in front of you, but adds somewhat of a 3D experience. Like that's why I call it medium, kind of like halfway. And if you choose on stage, that really sets the sound behind you as well. It kind of creates, this is almost like a 180. This is like 0, fresh on in front of you. And then on stage is like a 360. What I like about these surround sound settings, though, is they give a place for each instrument in the speakers. So if you choose audience, for example, you can kind of hear different instruments and different tones and sound levels coming through in different areas. A really well-mixed system will do that. You've got your tweeters and your mid-range woofers and your subwoofers and all these different speakers, and they're doing their own job. Some systems have a lot of different speakers, but they don't send the right signals to all those speakers, and it still kind of just sounds muddied. This system does a really good job at utilizing all those different speaker sizes. And lastly, you've got this clarify that I talked about earlier. Let's just turn that on. So listening to these uncompressed tracks, you really don't notice too much, but it just kind of adds a little bit on both ends. So a lot of times compressed music will sort of have the highest of highs and the lowest of lows cut off, because digital music, it's a data file, and it's got to send a certain bit rate of data through at a time. And when you're streaming, oftentimes that bit rate gets cut down. There's smaller files that allows things to play quicker, and there's less technology that's needed to get as much data through at one given time. So oftentimes they'll cut off high ends and low ends and some of the subtleties of a music track, because you can only have so many ones and zeros going through at any given time. An uncompressed song doesn't have that. It has all of the data that was provided originally from the sound mixer. So this clarify just kind of tries to bring back some of those lost peaks and valleys. It does an okay job at it. This type of music, I like it better off, though. Alright, now there's one more track I want to play you before we get on the road. That's this one. If you've watched our sound system tester before, you know this song can really bring crappier systems to their knees, and even some better systems. So let's take a listen here. Restart the track and talk you through it a little bit here. So you start here, you've just got the high ends, and they're coming through really crisp. This isn't hard for a system to do. You're only dealing with pretty much one instrument. And then the low end comes in. Most systems can handle this, especially if they have a subwoofer. You're dealing with lows and highs, fairly simple. And then right here, with this system, the heavy guitar stuff is coming through loud, but yet you can still hear the high-end guitar and the treble sounds coming through in the tweeters separately. And here you've got all these instruments. It's very loud. Most systems sound muddy here. This system, you still hear the bass drum and bass guitar coming through. You hear the normal guitar coming through the center speakers, and then you can still pick out the high-end hi-hat hits and higher parts of the guitar coming through in the tweeters. Really impressed with the Lexicon system in its ability to handle that. All right, let's get on the road. Now, it's easy for a lot of systems to sound good when you're stopped, especially in a quiet area, windows up. You don't really have much interference with anything else, any other noises. The G90 has an advantage because it is a very isolated and quiet ride. Once we get up to 70 miles per hour here, I'll turn the music off, let you kind of hear what it's like. Whew. I need to get a little bit of air going here, though. I'm toasty. Therefore, your music sounds better even when you're at highway speeds because there's less other sounds interrupting your music. Here's 70 miles per hour over a particularly bumpy section of pavement up here. So as you can see, wind noise virtually non-existent. Tire noise is a little bit louder than I would hope for in this class of vehicle. It might just be a little bit louder set of tires that are mounted on here. And engine noise virtually non-existent as well. It's a really low, grunty 5-liter V8 anyway, so any noise that comes through is pretty pleasant. wrapping things up here, final thoughts on the Lexicon 17 speaker system in the Genesis G90. Gotta be honest with you guys, it is pretty darn good. What it does a really great job at is sounding good, crisp, and holistic without being gimmicky. A lot of sound systems these days are adding a lot of post-processing and various other surround elements like I was showing you in an attempt to just kind of show off what they're able to do, and it doesn't really amount in anything. It doesn't result in a generally pleasant experience. It's all kind of superfluous. The system does a good job at kind of having a function for all of its different audio aspects. You'll see some systems have a full graphic equalizer. You can choose 10 different levels and customize them all. And that's great for some systems, but this does a pretty good job at just having treble, mid, bass, and then the few surround sound settings and the clarify bump. If I were rating this system holistically across all cars, everything I've listened to, I'm going to give it about a high 8.5, 9 range. The only two systems that come to mind that beat it are the Mark Levinson in the GX460 and the Bowers & Wilkins in both the V60 and the XC90. Those two systems are just a little bit more impressive when it comes to how full they are and just really providing like a hefty, like inner soul crushing sound experience when you turn it up really loud, as well as just being very delicate and balanced and parsing out all instruments. This system does an awesome job at its balancing, and like I said, the instruments all have their own channels. They come through the speakers very crisp and clear and clean. The only thing it's missing out on those other systems is a bit of just the power and force that you can find in a 9.5 to 10 level system. In terms of in its class, same thing, about an 8.5 to 9. You're going to find the best audio systems in luxury sedans and luxury SUVs. So you're dealing with kind of the best of the best here. I should also note that the system, in terms of usability, it's pretty good. It does have this kind of rotary knob down here that feels a little bit cheap compared to other rotary knobs like the one in the BMW. But it's fairly easy to use. You got to kind of go side to side with some things and scroll for other things. Fortunately, it's also a touchscreen though, so you can just reach up and click buttons. And then the steering wheel controls make it pretty easy to use as well. So, wrapping things up here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you're able to get a good idea of the quality of the sound system. If you want to see more about the car, take a look for our full review. If you liked the video, we definitely hope you hit that subscribe button. Check out some of our other videos. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor. Drive on.